Good morning there, you Tuberubers, great and small, young and old, large and otherwise. Let's see if we can devise other ways to differentiate. How about awake and asleep? If you're asleep, ignore this. Um, Short talk in the trailer with the old guy. It's a Monday morning, getting ready for work here in a little while. Sitting here having some agua and had a handful of peanuts and something. I forgot what it's called. The trail mix kind of stuff. Just crunchy stuff, salty. Anyway, had a peach, and by golly, that's breakfast. I wanted to talk briefly this morning. It's kind of funny. I woke up. It's getting chilly here. It's not cold in southern New Mexico by any standards. If you like say live in the Midwest, you'll probably be rolling in laughter when I start talking about I'm being cold or issues like that. But it's going to be getting nippy here tomorrow and the next day for sure. Down, I think 34 was the overnight low coming on, something like that. And anyway, over the weekend, Saturday, I decided, I just got to get me a new blanket. So I thought, well, I'm just going to go get some wool blankets. And I, I Googled it and it showed that Penny's had it. I thought, when was the last time I was in a JC Penney's? I thought, are they still even open? So I thought, I'll go in there for old time's sake. And I couldn't find any. So anyway, there was a nice sales lady. She took me over. She said, look, if they're not in this area right here, then that's because we don't have any. I said, well, apparently you don't have any. So I said, well, I'll keep looking, thanks. And I was about halfway out the door, and all of a sudden this comforter thing caught my eye. It kind of reminded me of Christmas. On the inside is this white, fluffy, it's like this faux, F-A-U-X, Sherpa type stuff. I mean, as if a sheep was involved somewhere. And then the other side, it looks kind of like a red plaid, kind of a flannelly looking stuff on the outside. And I liked it was nice and thick and stuff, and I thought, that would be nice. And so I started looking at it, and it was expensive, man. It was like $180 for this king size bed comforter. And I thought, well, I don't have a king size bed. I'll just fold it up in half and I can be like a human taco on the inside. Or just double it up and flop it down on me. So I did that last night, and boy, I could hardly believe how comfortable that darn thing is. It's just a great blanket. Now, anyway, it just so happened the thing was on sale that day. So I think they dropped $80 off it or something like that. I basically paid $100 for this thing the other day. And if you'd asked me a week or two ago, are you willing, Mike Labor, to pay $100 for a single blanket? I'd go, no. I'll pay you like 12 or 14 or maybe even 20 for a good wool blanket, but no, I'm not going to pay you. Well, I'm glad I did. This thing is a really nice blanket. And so I thought, well, I guess I'm going to have to seriously postpone thinking about getting the heater fixed this time. Last year, I went to light the sequence it off, and I just couldn't get the main flame to hold. I could get it to go to pilot, but every time I switched it to main, it just shut itself off. And it's a problem in the gas valve in there. And the thing's a dinosaur. I mean, it's older than I am, if you can believe that. And so last year I thought, look, I got a space heater, so I just closed the door to the bedroom and turn on the space heater. It's like that's the only place I'm at anyway. Why am I heating the rest of the house anyhow? Huh. Well, that worked and it didn't. But the blankets I had, one was a much older comforter, and just I got an old wool blanket, and I have a packing blanket. The kind if you go down to Harbor Freight, it's a quilted thing, gray, and people use it to move furniture with usually. So I got a furniture blanket back there. And so I thought, boy, I got to get me another blanket. And the one hanging on the wall behind me, I used to sleep with until about last April, but I hung it up here because I started making YouTube videos. And I thought, well, I need a backdrop. We want to look like a pro. And so anyhow, I finally knuckled under and actually, if you think about it now, if I think about it today, I know I bought that packing blanket. I know I did. It was about 4 years ago. The gray one behind me, that was a gift from a friend. It was a woolen blanket out of Mexico. They make pretty nice blankets down there. The gray, it looks like a military blanket. I have no idea where that came from. And the comforter thing, I have no idea. But I probably bought it 25 years ago. I mean, maybe I did. But I got to thinking about it. That I got these 2 or 3 old blankets. It's just like I sleep on the floor because my back is toast. And if I try to sleep on, especially a soft bed, I can barely walk the next day. And last winter, now this is old guy talk. This is definitely a short talk with an old guy this morning. Last year, starting in November, I'd never experienced this before, and people were saying it was my sciatic nerve. I don't know where they deduced that information from, but it was like, if you can imagine, right at the base of your spine, right down into the right butt muscle, and down into that right thigh, the rear thigh. Oh, it was like all those muscles were like suddenly in Charlie horse land. Like, I don't want to move. I'm completely stove up. Don't even think about it. And but I knew it was heat related because I didn't feel bad when I was sleeping. But as soon as I start walking around in the cold trailer, that thing would flare up, and it was like, whoa. And sure enough, once the sun comes up, temperature goes up a few degrees, all that went away. And so I thought, well, maybe we can, nip some of that weird uh, muscle thing in the bud. About 3 years ago, I was kind of seeing a lady, dating her a little bit, uh, and I was taking her back home. I think we'd gone out to eat or something, and she had agreed to dog sit for a family who was out of town, and so their dog was at her home. Well, I forgot about that. I opened the gate to let her in. The dog took off past me. I said, dang it. So the dog was a complete idiot and simply ignored you. So she said, well, before you go, would you mind helping me round up the dog? I said, no, I don't mind. So I started kind of stalking this animal, and basically I finally get him pinned in on the neighbor's porch. I thought, I'm smarter than a dog. And said, all I have to do is run about 10 steps forward and essentially flare my arms in front of me, kind of like I can fly like Superman, and I'll pin him in. He won't be able to negotiate his way off there. He'll be spooked right into the corner. This was my idea. I think it was on step number 3. Boom! I just went down like a log. And I was just laying there thinking, wow. And so I had pulled a big muscle in the back of my leg, and it just completely seized on me. And I went down pretty hard, and I just laid there for a while, and I thought, this is going to hurt. It already does. And so I kind of wobbled up. Are you okay, Mike? I was like, oh yeah, I'll be all right. But I could walk, but it was just like really painful and slow. And well, it took me about 3 weeks to walk that off, and I'd completely forgotten about that episode. It was that same set of muscles that were going gonzo last winter. And so I thought, well, this whole, presupposition here that we know that it's a sciatic nerve issue, I don't know. I don't buy that. I think, and I still think today, that it was those same muscles. They never really did heal. I thought they'd healed up, but sure enough, they were pesky enough last year. So I thought a bigger blanket might help with that. But by golly, this thing, if you don't mind spending $100 on a blanket, this thing's a keeper. I mean, I really enjoy it. And so Cindy today was asking some questions. I did a video the other day when I was just sitting here in my church shirt, the blue church shirt. She was asking whether it was uncomfortably cool or whatever. So I messaged her back a little bit. You can read those comments too if you care. And I don't know. Maybe there's other viewers out there. Do you turn on your heat in the winter? I mean, I've got a neighbor. 3 years ago, he just took his furnace completely out. I asked him, how do you heat your house? And he says, we don't. And I thought, well, that would be the correct answer. And so anyway, I'm going to do things. Children, turn your eyes away. And so I just thought today I was going to have a short talk in the trailer about a big blanket. And it looks like Christmas too, white and red. All I need is a little bit of green mixed in somewhere, I guess. And I was thinking about that the other day. Why would there be 3 colors associated with the incarnation? Green, white, red. Something to think about. Because I guess white isn't technically a color at all. Hmm. Anyway, someone will think about that for me, I'm sure. There might be something to it. Green, white, red for incarnation colors. I it's kind of beyond me. But at any rate, I've got 2/3 of a Christmas blanket. So I guess I gave myself a Christmas present early. Yay! Merry Christmas, Mike. And by the way, you don't have to freeze until it gets here. And don't be such a darn cheapskate. Get your furnace fixed, will ya? Have a good day, and go out there and find something today you can work on or think about, and come up with a new idea how to deal with it. Something a little bit out of the routine. Take an alternate route to work that won't necessarily lose a bunch of time, but look around you. Pay attention. Have you ever really noticed the stuff as you drive by? And if you have a chance today, just stop and listen. Listen somewhere outdoors and just listen for the sounds around you and what surrounds you. And I always try to listen for living things, birds and such, but, traffic sounds, engines, tires. When you think about interstate traffic, please don't. I live about a 3/4 of a mile or a mile from an interstate, depending on which way you look. Definitely the noisiest part of modern vehicles is their tires. I can hear their tires from here, especially the 18-wheelers. Those guys, it has a special kind of hum to their sound. From a mile away you can hear them, but you can't hear the engine. Can't hear the exhaust, just the tires. And people never think of that. At least I didn't. So anyway, as you go and notice things, comment on them. Comment on them to yourself. Think, that's something the Lord made that I never thought of till just now. I wonder how many other things there are like that. Only about a jillion. We'll just keep learning then, won't we? Little by little, day by day, we're going to put it together and it's going to come together. But the hope that we have isn't in your competence or mine. The hope that we have is in the other, the Son of Man, Jesus of Nazareth. It says, on the cross sign on my door here, it says, Jesus Nazarenos Rex Idioreum. That's my guess on pronunciation. Jesus the Nazarene, King of Jews. And so you'll see this in, maybe Episcopalian churches, maybe, or Roman Catholic, up on a banner somewhere near the front, perhaps near the podium where the speaker is, or perhaps at the table if they do the Lord's Supper. It might say I-N-R-I. That's the same. Jesus of Nazarene. Jesus the Nazarene King. So that was the sign that was posted over the cross. And that sign has had a big impact on my life. I, for one, buy it. He is the King of the Jews, and he's the King of Gentiles, too. That's where you and me come in. And, I just want you to think about it, having a Monday where it's a new start. It's a reboot. Let's hit it again, and let's make it right this time. And have a good, peaceful time doing it. Don't blow your top. Don't go crazy. I always tell my young guys, no job's worth getting hurt for. Well, maybe today my attitude would be, no job's worth losing my mind over. I only got one. Can't afford to get rid of that one. Hope you guys have a good day.